You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network.
This is Chip Gilchrist, voice of the Kingston Frontenacs. You're listening to OHL Overtime, an in-depth interview show highlighting the players, coaches, and broadcasters from around the Ontario Hockey League who make the league so great, as well as in-person coverage of events such as the OHL Playoffs, OHL Championship Series, OHL Combine, and more, exclusively on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Here's your program host, Brandon Caputo.
Welcome into another OHL playoff game recap right here on OHL Overtime and on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Brandon Caputo here with you, and I'm going to introduce my guest co-host tonight very shortly to break down the 9-1 victory for the London Knights in Game 2 of the OHL Championship Series over the Oshawa Generals, taking a 2-0 series lead here with back-to-back blowout victories. As always, OHL Overtime is proudly brought to you by Wild Bill's Auto Repair, helping customers stay safe and confident on the road since 2012 in honor of the late William Robert Hunter. Thank you to those today listening to us on your favorite on-demand audio platform, as well. Give us a follow on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that sort of thing by searching the Armchair GM Sports Network. So with that said, I'm pleased to welcome on a special co-host today who made the trip just to be on our postgame show, I'm sure, but one of the radio voices of the Windsor Spitfires and one of the best smiles in all the Ontario Hockey League. That would be Manny Paiva. You can follow him on X at Paiva the Way. Manny, thanks so much for joining us today on the postgame show. It was a pleasant surprise having you in the building, so I said, why not ask Manny if he wanted to come on and give his analysis. So thanks a lot, Manny, and we definitely saw quite the game too.
Thanks for inviting me, Brandon. I did not bring any Windsor pizza with me, but hopefully the next time we meet, we can hook you up with some Windsor-style pizza. I was surprised by the result in the game. I thought that there would be a little bit of pushback from the Oshawa Generals after they lost 8-1 in Game 1. Instead, we saw a similar type game in Game 2, and now London has a 2-0 series lead, 2 wins away from advancing to the Memorial Cup. And I don't know if there's anything Oshawa can do in the next 2 games to help them get back in this series, but we'll see.
We'll get post-game tonight with both head coaches as well as a player from each team. Kasper Halttunen for the home side London Knights, and then for the Oshawa Generals, Captain Stuart Rolofs. We'll get all that in segment 2 today. We're going to break it all down for you. Manny, before we get going with all the post-game stuff, where can people find the work that you're doing with the Windsor Spitfires and anything else you want to plug here?
Oh, that's great. Thanks for the opportunity. Well, if you want to see some of my work with the Windsor Spitfires, all you have to do is go onto the Windsor Spitfires website or on their YouTube channel. There you'll see a number of interviews that I do with members of the team, including first overall selection, Ethan Belchez. He looks like a player. As well, you can follow me on X, as you mentioned, at Paiva the Way. Love talking to fans, so the back and forth, especially that I had in Game 2 here tonight, was great because there wasn't really much else to talk about during the third period of this hockey game.
Yeah, and Ethan Belchez winning the draft lottery. Congratulations to the Windsor Spitfires at the expense of my Niagara Ice Dogs. But
didn't want to rub that in a little bit more, but I had to throw it out there.
And you're also hand-building the Gordie Howe Bridge.
Yeah, almost. So my day job is Senior Communications Advisor for the Gordie Howe International Bridge, that new, beautiful cable-stayed bridge between Windsor and Detroit. It will be the longest cable-stayed bridge in North America once complete, and it will get you to the U.S. a whole lot faster when it opens in the fall of 2025.
That's definitely needed. I've taken that Ambassador Bridge, and it's way too long. So,
looking forward to it.
With that said, we'll get into our game stats tonight. Brought to you by J&O Flooring. If you think you get a better deal anywhere else, you don't know Jack. Contact our Niagara Flows location. Begin your quality flooring project today. And, ooh, boy, shots on net. At one point, the London Knights almost had as many goals as the Generals had shots. 5 shots in the first period, 17 for the London Knights, 16-9 in the second period, and Oshawa actually outshot London 8-6 in that third period in garbage time when they were down by almost a touchdown. But 39-22 was the eventual shot total. Manny, thoughts on what you saw from the shots on that category tonight?
Yeah, London really took it to Oshawa early on in the hockey game, and the Generals really could not penetrate London's awesome defensemen. The top 4D for London are fantastic, and they really don't give up good scoring chances in front of goalie Michael Simpson. There were also a couple of opportunities that you and I talked about early in the hockey game where it looked like Oshawa passed up shots to make an extra pass. And when you're down 1-0 in the series early in that first period, Jacob Oster made 2 great saves in the first 2 minutes of this hockey game. The least you could do is try to get some shots on net to help out your goaltender and help out some offense, help out your confidence. I didn't see that from the Generals. As you mentioned, they had 5 shots in that first period, and you mentioned how London almost had as many goals as Oshawa had shots. It was 5.5 minutes into the second period. I tweeted, London had 6 goals, Oshawa had 8 shots. It's unreal.
Yeah, that's quite the stat when you really break it down. As far as the power play goes, another thing that Coach Derek Laxdal is not going to be happy with. His team went 0 for 4 on the power play. London went 4 of 8, so 8 power play opportunities. This London Knights team is just lethal when it comes to the man advantage. But I want to more so talk about the Oshawa side because they had a couple opportunities there, and they really didn't even get it set up in the offensive zone. They cleared the puck on their own a few times, just a little bit of miscommunication along the half wall, passing the puck back to the point, and they just seemed off sync tonight on the power play.
Yeah, you could really see the difference between the two offensive units. There seemed to be a whole lot more chemistry when London went on the power play compared to Oshawa, who never really tested Michael Simpson at all on the power play. They were 0 for 4, as you mentioned, with the man advantage, but I don't think the Generals had more than 5 shots in those 4 power plays combined. And when you don't have that many scoring chances on the power play, you're not going to get goals on the power play, and they're now 0 for 7 in the series in the first 2 games, while London is 6 for 10, 60% success rate on the power play for the Knights. Unheard of.
Yeah, definitely great numbers there for the London Knights and why they're off to such a good start in this series. I forgot to bring it up at the open, Manny. No Connor Punnett, no Beckett Seneca, and no Matthew Buckley. Again, a depth forward, but a big piece for the Oshawa Generals. I know Coach Derek Laxdal doesn't want to make that as an excuse, but Beckett Seneca is going to be a first-round pick in the upcoming NHL draft, and we know what kind of rugged force Connor Punnett is there, being able to just clear guys out front of the net and just having that presence where the London Knights might be a little bit weary about going into the corners or going to the front of their net because big Connor Punnett, Dallas Stars prospect, would be there, and the Knights have feasted in front of the net without Punnett out there. Do you think that those 3 losses have made a big issue for the Oshawa Generals in the series so far?
100% they have. You can debate whether it's an 8-goal difference, as we saw in Game 2, but it certainly has an impact. Connor Punnett plays with an edge that the Oshawa Generals do not have on the blue line without him. And Beckett Seneca, he is an offensively gifted forward. As you mentioned, maybe a top 15 pick in the NHL draft. When they lacked offense in this game, when they had 5 shots in the first period, 14 shots after 2 periods, a guy like Seneca can really help you. Not only get shots on net, but really drive the puck to the front of the net and possibly get a couple of goals as well. He plays a hard game that way, and I thought Oshawa missed both of them. It's why I asked Derek Laxdal the question in the post-game show, and, you know, as you mentioned, he didn't want to make it an excuse, but he did say, take away Cowan and Dickinson from London. Still a really good team, but it has an impact when they're not in the lineup. And we've certainly seen that Seneca and Punnett, especially, add in Buckley, when they're not in the lineup for Oshawa, it has an impact.
As far as the face-off dot goes, 31-26 for the Generals, so they actually won at the face-off dot tonight. Callum Ritchie, 9 of 16. Dylan Robrick, 7 of 16, and Ethan Toms was actually 5 of 6, and he won the draw that led to Oshawa's only goal tonight. As far as the Knights, 11 of 15 for Jacob Julian, 6 of 16 for Sam O'Reilly, not the greatest, but 5 of 10 for William Nickel as well. Did you notice anything that stuck out to you from the faceoff dot tonight, Manny?
I actually was pleasantly surprised how Oshawa won the faceoff dot. I did like Tom's game, Ethan Tom's game. More of a third-line guy for the Oshawa Generals. He's actually, I think, started on the fourth line tonight and got moved up to the third line because he was effective for Derek Laxdal and the Generals. But you can't have your third and fourth line guys be their best players in the hockey game. So I think that partly was a reason why London dominated in this hockey game yet again.
Move on to the scoring summary tonight, brought to you by the Niagara Employment Help Center, helping people find work in Niagara since 1983. Check out their up-to-date job board at ehc.on.ca to find your next work opportunity today. Not going to go over every single goal here, Manny, or else we'd probably be here until 2 a.m., but 9-1 for the London Knights. They got off on a hot start there with Ruslan Gazizov taking the pass from Sam O'Reilly and Max McHugh. That was early on in the game, finished off the passing play with the pickpocket from McHugh as Sandu gave the puck away in his own end, which was a slick play down to O'Reilly, and then got it over to Gazizov, who one-timed it. Not a good start for the Generals. You don't want to turn pucks over and give the London Knights a great opportunity to get the first goal of the hockey game.
Yeah, that happened on a couple of goals, actually, where we saw turnovers end up in the back of the net for the Oshawa Generals. Not only are you missing your best forward and your best defenseman, but then you turn the puck over in your own end against a dangerous London team. That's a recipe for disaster.
Second goal, Kasper Halttunen on the power play, and we haven't heard the end of him tonight, from Denver Barkey and Oliver Bonk at the 11:48 mark. And with that goal, this right circle wristed one far side on Jacob Oster with traffic after a Connor Lockhart penalty. And we'll get into the penalty trouble for the Oshawa Generals here, and it really came back to haunt them, giving London so many opportunities. But Kasper Halttunen, he's a San Jose Sharks draft pick, taken in the import draft by London, and he's really added that trigger man-like mentality for the Knights, just being able to get him open on the one side of the ice while Easton Cowan's open on the other side. It's almost pick your poison at that point, and it seems unfair at times.
He had 32 goals in the regular season. Half of those goals came on the power play exactly the way we saw it. You know, you can pick your poison. Do you want to play Cowan in one circle and leave Halttunen open on the other side, or focus on Halton and try to stop Cowan in the other circle? Halttunen's got a pro shot. He's going to look good in a San Jose Sharks uniform, a second-round pick from the 2023 draft. He is just dangerous when London has that extra man. And
another offensive zone penalty for the Oshawa Generals, which was kind of a story of tonight's
game.
Theme of tonight's game. Just very undisciplined, and you had pointed that out early in the game, especially after the first two power plays. And that's another power play goal for the London Knights. Easton Cowan gets this one, his 9th from Denver Barkey and Oliver Bonk. Barkey kind of faked it, cut into the middle before going over to Cowan after they had kind of overcompensated for Halttunen on the other side, and just no chance for Oster on the one-timer. Just, you don't expect that from your captain taking an offensive zone penalty. And it really hindered any chance they had in tonight's game.
Yeah, the first two penalties that led to those two power play goals, one by Lockhart, one by Rolofs, they both happened in the offensive zone 200 feet away from your net. You can't do that at any time, but you can't do it early in a game when you're already down 1-0 and you had two shots in the hockey game to show for it at that time. And it's your veterans. It's the two overage players on this Oshawa roster who took those penalties. You can't have your older players, your top players, taking penalties 200 feet away from your net. It'll drive coaches crazy, and Coach was crazy. Coach Laxdal was not happy in the postgame.
He wasn't, and right off that next draw, Evan Van Gorp, the shot from Sawyer Bolton, kind of the rebound shot, and just back-to-back goals on back-to-back shifts for the London Knights to make it 4-0 going into the room. And, Manny, at 4-0 after the first period, we turned to each other at the intermission and just said, Oshawa's holding on by a thread here, living on a prayer, basically, at this point. And the period just progressively got worse for the Generals. It wasn't like they got better after a bad start to the period. It almost felt like the period just could never end for the Generals tonight in the first.
Yeah, and they took an offensive zone penalty late in that first period that led to London going on the power play to start the second. Not only are you digging a hole, but you're asking key guys to play strong defensive minutes in your own end when you're trying to generate offense. That's just not going to work.
And then 4 more goals in the second. Halttunen with his second. Denver Barkey. Kasper Halttunen again on the power play for his hat trick. And then Max McHugh with the Michigan goal. I actually missed that one because it was right after the Halttunen goal. So just a flurry of goals for the London Knights in the first and another flurry of goals for them in the second period, Manny. I don't know if there's any of the 4 goals in the second that you wanted to touch on that really put this thing away.
Well, the Max McHugh goal was outstanding, a lacrosse-type goal. He got knocked down right behind the net, but he got back up and the puck came to him, and you could see it was coming. So I was surprised that Oshawa's defense wasn't more physical to try to stop him from coming out in front of the net. But then when you look at their lineup, without Connor Punnett, they don't have a guy who can play that physical there, and an easy goal for Max McHugh.
And we get into late in the second period, actually. This was a bright spot for Oshawa. We talked about Ethan Toms as a fourth-line player earning more ice time tonight, ended up moving up the lineup by the end of it. Wins a face-off clean to Ben Danford, and he kind of just controls the line there, cuts to the middle, and risks one past Michael Simpson. And you're almost thinking to yourself, where was that all game?
Right. Miraculously enough, in an 8-goal deficit, Ben Danford not only scored, but he finished a +1 in the hockey game. Danford, the only Oshawa General to finish on the plus side. And I don't think he's 100%. I think he's playing hurt. He blocked a shot early in the game as well. About 3.5 minutes into the game, he went down, and I was concerned that he might miss the rest of the game. But he played tonight. I can't say that many of the other Oshawa Generals did.
And then Jacob Julian ends up getting credit for the 9th goal that put it out of reach. And to the dismay of the Budweiser Gardens tonight, London did not reach the 10 mark. But when you look at that, that's 17 goals in 2 games through the first 2 games of the Eastern Conference, or the OHL Championship Series, and the Eastern Conference champion Oshawa Generals. Their goaltender of the year, Jacob Oster, pulled for a second straight game. Again, not going to put the blame on him. The guys in front of him really just didn't have a chance to play. And we heard Derek Laxdal talk about the team being mentally and physically exhausted, missing 3 of their top guys, and going up against the best team in all of the Ontario Hockey League this year. The London Knights won the regular season for a reason, man. You saw them a lot playing against the Windsor Spitfires. It just seems like London's the team of destiny this year after getting to the OHL Championship a year prior with a younger roster.
Yeah, when you take a look at the top players on London's squad, I feel that there is a discrepancy between London's top players and Oshawa's top players. No offense to the Generals or the Generals fans who are listening to this, but I think if we're all being honest here, the top 6 players, top 6 forwards for London, the top 4 defensemen for London versus the top 4 defensemen for Oshawa and the top 6 forwards for Oshawa, I feel there's a discrepancy there. I felt that heading into the series, and it's obviously played out that way on the ice.
Do you think if Oshawa would have been able to close out North Bay in maybe 4 or 5 as opposed to North Bay taking 3 straight and making them earn it with that Game 7, do you think that fatigue factor, if Oshawa were hypothetically able to finish off that series early, maybe we'd see a better result in the first 2 games?
I think definitely that is a possibility, especially because Seneca missed games towards the end of that series against North Bay, so you're counting on other guys to play more minutes. Now they get to this, they're already tired because they've played some hard minutes against North Bay in Games 6 and 7, for example, Game 5 as well. So it certainly is a factor that you have to play more games, and you're playing away from home as well in a raucous 9,036 sellout arena in London. It certainly is a factor.
Manny, do you have any closing remarks on anything you saw as far as the chippiness we saw near the end of the game? There were some penalties, a couple of original 5-minute majors that were changed to either 2-minute penalties. We saw a couple players exit early, hit the showers with the 10-minute misconducts. you saw the intensity pick up as Oshawa became more and more frustrated, and the antagonizers of the London Knights just continued to pile on.
Yeah, I actually liked that pushback by the Generals and was hoping to see that a little bit sooner in the hockey game instead of the offensive zone penalties and some of the other bad penalties that we saw the Generals take. I think that fight and that pushback hopefully will show up in Game 3 and 4 back in Oshawa to try to make this an entertaining series, and hopefully Beckett, Seneca, and Connor Punnett return as well, because it will certainly help the Generals lineup.
It sure will. So we're going to get more post-game reaction here. After our commercial break, we're going to hear from both head coaches as well as a player from both teams. So stay right here. We'll be right back on OHL Overtime and our OHL game recap right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network, proudly brought to you by Wild Bill's Auto Repair.
Wild Bill's Auto Repair is your local center for auto maintenance and repair in the Niagara region. Since 2012, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop has been helping customers stay safe and confident on the road, knowing their vehicles in top running condition through their services. Located at 7868 Oakwood Drive in Niagara Falls, the garage started as a tribute to the owner's father, William Robert Hunter, who passed away, continuing the same community spirit and high level of service which customers came to expect from him back at Hunter's Auto Repair. Their multi-award-winning auto shop has earned the trust of the Niagara community with its fair treatment of all customers, who can feel confident they'll get the trustworthy advice and repairs during their visits. Their experienced crew loves meeting new people and looks forward to forming a lasting partnership for the care of your cars. To find out more or to book service, contact them today. 905-358-7868 or wildbillsauto.ca. Wild Bill's Auto Repair, helping customers stay safe and confident on the road since 2012.
In the Niagara region, Global Pet Foods is your destination for premium pet nutrition and caring expertise. Whether you've welcomed a new furry family member or need advice on top quality nutrition, their dedicated staff is ready to help. Discover why Global Pet Foods' lesser-known premium brands outshine the big corporate names. Their team's passion ensures your pet's health and vitality. Check out one of their locations today, 3643 Portage Road in Niagara Falls, 160 Highway 20 in Font Hill, or 400 Scott Street and 344 Glendale Avenue in St. Catharines. Global Pet Foods, where premium brands and caring staff make the difference.
Niagara Golf Lounge features 2 state-of-the-art indoor golf simulators, allowing you to play some of the world's best courses all year round. The perfect place to indulge all season long. Don't worry about getting thirsty while you play around with your friends. Their fully stocked bar offers a wide selection of drinks, appetizers, and a variety of meals are also available to enjoy before, during, or after you play. Grab a seat next to the fire in their comfortable sports lounge. Didn't bring your clubs? No problem. They have partnered with TaylorMade to offer you the best rental clubs. You won't want to miss their exclusive NFL and NHL giveaways for the Buffalo Sabres and Buffalo Bills. Located in the Best Western Plus Cairncroft Hotel, 6400 Lundy's Lane in Niagara Falls. Visit NiagaraGolfVacations.com to learn more and to reserve your golf bay today. The Niagara Golf Lounge, Niagara's home for golf and sport all year round.
J&L Flooring is Niagara's specialty flooring and design company. They take great pride and provide elite customer service and support. With a beautiful showroom, great pricing, and a wide variety of truly unique products, J&L Flooring is your specialty flooring and decor boutique shop. All of their products are environmentally friendly and responsibly produced, so you can feel good about your flooring choices. Their goal is to build authentic relationships based on honesty and integrity that they foster with respect and authenticity. Offering a unique and wide range of quality products presented by a knowledgeable and patient team, they simplify the process to make your life easier and to make your home more beautiful. Visit them at 4424 Montrose Road in Niagara Falls or find out more at jnlflooring.com. If you think you can get a better deal anywhere else, you don't know Jack at J&L Flooring. Are you looking to hire? Let the Niagara Employment Help Center save you valuable time and money by making your hiring process easier. Their services include free job postings in-house and on their website, fill job vacancies quickly and efficiently, access to a bank of potential employees, reduce employment costs, and financial incentives may be available to offset the cost of new hire training. Check out the website at ehc.on.ca or call 905-358-0021 for more information. The Niagara Employment Help Center, helping people find work since 1983. You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network, the Niagara region's best local source for North American sports podcasting coverage. By sports fans, for sports fans.
Welcome back to part 2 of today's OHL game recap right here on OHL Overtime and on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Brandon Caputo joined alongside my guest co-host tonight, Manny Paiva from the Windsor Spitfires radio broadcast, breaking down Game 2 of the OHL Championship Series between the London Knights and the Oshawa Generals. Manny, before we get to the post-game with head coach Derek Laxdal, and this is going to be a real quick one for you guys listening out there, what kind of response are you expecting to see from the Oshawa Generals as we go back to Game 3? Because you can look at this and say, it can't get much worse. You just lost 8-1 and 9-1 respectively. So, again, you don't want to go down 3-0 in a series, but you almost want to hope that when you get back in front of your home fans that things change. Maybe Connor Punnett and or Beckett Seneca are healthy enough to play in that game. Like, where are you drawing positives from the first 2 games here?
Well, I think first and foremost for Coach Laxdal, the fact that you're going back home is a positive for the hockey club, and the guys can sleep in their normal beds and get back to some sort of normal routine. And they can talk about the fact that, hey, we're back on home ice. It's our barn. They held serve in their barn. Let's see if we can hold serve in our barn. And hopefully the Oshawa faithful will come out and support the hockey club that way. Jacob Oster, he allowed 8 goals on 33 shots in this game, but as much as he'd like to have a couple of goals back, I don't think you can blame him, even though Oshawa's been outscored 17-2 in this first 2 games of the series. I think we put a lot of pressure on goaltenders that way, and then watching it live here, you could see that he could have sued for non-support. So I expect them to go back to Oster in Game 3 and try to gain some confidence that way. But I think Derek Laxdal is quietly hoping, fingers crossed, that he gets Seneca and Punnett at least, and hopefully Buckley back in the lineup.
Most definitely. So we'll get to post-game with head coach Derek Laxdal and Captain Stuart Rolofs today, brought to you by Global Pet Foods. Your pets are undeniably part of the family and all 4 of their great Niagara region locations. Here's the Oshawa Generals head coach following the 9-1 defeat at the hands of the London Knights.
Here with post-game coverage of Game 2 of the OHL Championship Series, joined by Oshawa Generals head coach Derek Laxdal, along with Captain Stuart Rolofs. Coach, a team that's come so far here, winning a 7-game series in the East Final. You head home from Game 3. Does this team have something left to give here?
Yeah, they do. You know what? Like I just said to the kids there, don't worry about the score. The score is a score. It is what it is. We're down 2-0 in the series. That's what matters, right? So we get a chance to go in our own building now and hopefully get some bodies back here for Monday night. But, it's tough on those kids there. It's tough to watch them go through that. At the end of the day, these are kids. And, they've poured out their hearts to get here. And, so the first 2 games are gone. Now we'll move on and we'll pick ourselves up and get ready for Monday.
Stuart, for yourself, kind of staring at your last handful of games in the OHL here, trailing 2-0 in the series, how important is it for you individually, but also as leader of this team, to finish strong regardless of what happens?
Yeah, I think we've dug ourselves a hole here, and obviously, we need to show what type of team we are here in the next few days. And I'm sitting here, kind of feeling the same way I did after Game 6, and I think we need to come out and show what type of hockey team we are here in the next few days.
Questions, guys?
Coach, 8 penalties tonight, letting London on the power play. They scored 4 of them. Just how much does that wear down the rest of your team and not being able to play 5-on-5 and having to
2 words for you, too many.
Too many. Did you have any problems with the officiating tonight?
Nope.
Stuart, in that third period, you guys seemed to have a little bit more of a bite out there coming out for that third. Was that kind of the message to make sure that the guys were, putting a little bit more effort in there to try to gain some momentum as you go into Game 3?
Yeah, I think the message was just to try and give ourselves some momentum heading back home.
Coach, is it as simple as missing the guys that you are missing?
Take out Cowan, take out Dickinson. What do you have, right? Still a pretty good team. But Beckett Seneca's a big player for us. So is Connor Punnett and Matthew Buckley. And, you look at our age group of our team, pretty young team out there with the guys we have. So, but at the end of the day, I gave a lot of those young kids ice time in the third, just kind of give them some experience through the group and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we got to pick ourselves up. We're down 2-0, and we want to try and get our first win of the series on Monday night.
You made the goaltending change, Coach. Explain the reasoning behind that.
Do I have to explain it?
Well, Manny, short and sweet from Derek Laxdal tonight.
How'd you like my question at the end there, Coach?
Yeah.
So I was trying to set him up going, what'd you think about your goaltending? Why'd you make the goalie change? Because I wanted to set him up to say, are you going back to Oster in Game 3? And he was obviously not in the mood, so I didn't want to make him even more angry than he already was. But again, you could blame Oster. I don't blame Oster. I think it was the Oshawa Generals that lost this game, not the goaltender.
I think he said a combined 10 words in that about 3-minute press conference. I think that's the type of when Derek Laxdal, he's been in this situation so many times. He's coached the Edmonton Oil Kings to 2 WHL championships. He's coached the Dallas Stars to an appearance as an assistant coach in the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, he's been through the ups and downs in all levels of hockey. He's a pro coach, and now getting back here with the Oshawa Generals in junior hockey. Maybe he knows that this team maybe overachieved a little bit this year, and they're going up against a juggernaut with a young club, but he's not going to make excuses for them. He talked about didn't have a problem with the officiating. Maybe that's just because he doesn't want that to be known in the public.
He doesn't want fines either.
No, but again, I just think that stoic mentality is what he wants to see from his players. He doesn't want them to have an emotional response that's going to get them in trouble.
A couple of things he did say that I found interesting. He talked about how young his team was. Again, not making an excuse, but he talked about the fact that we have to remember that these kids are young, right? And they have to face this adversity. It's how they come out of this adversity in games 3 and 4 back in Oshawa. How do they respond to that? And I asked him the question about is the difference the injuries? And I thought his answer was interesting, how if you take away Cowan and Dickinson from London, they're still a pretty good team, but it is an impact. And I tend to agree with that. If you take away one of your top forwards and one of your top defensemen, it certainly has an impact on the action on the ice, and I certainly feel that way. Now, you can debate whether it's an 8-goal difference in what we saw in Game 2. I don't think so, but might make the games more entertaining and a lot closer.
Captain Stuart Rolofs didn't want to ask him about the offensive zone penalties, but did like his answer that they wanted to come out in the third and just have a little bit more bite, have a little bit more effort, and show that they do care, that they wanted to take a piece out of London as they go back to Game 3 in Oshawa.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be counted on to perform. I was expecting more from that line of Lockhart, Rolofs, and Ritchie.
Penalties.
Yeah. Lockhart, 2 minors in the first. Rolofs, another minor in the first. All in the offensive zone. Ritchie had a great chance in that second period, maybe the best scoring chance for Oshawa in this game, and Simpson made a great save, but your top line can't have one good scoring chance. You need more from them. Especially
Callum Ritchie. He's a first-round pick of the Colorado Avalanche for a reason, and I know he only played half this season, but he's a dynamic player that needs to be able to come through, and head coach Derek Laxdal kind of called out his top players near the end of that North Bay series, and they really shine through in Game 7 after 3 underwhelming performances through Games 4 to 6 in that series that helped North Bay get back in it. We'll get to our second post game tonight with head coach Dale Hunter of the London Knights and Kasper Halttunen. I wanted to say Rasmus Kupalainen, getting the Europeans mixed up there. It's with Kasper Halttunen, brought to you by the Niagara Denture Clinic, creating natural smiles in Niagara for 25 years. Forgot to bring your mouth guard on the ice or lost a chiclet? Contact your licensed team at Denture Professionals in Niagara Falls to get your smile back on track. Here's Dale Hunter and Kasper Halttunen following a 9-1 victory in Game 2 of the OHL Championship Series.
Back with more post-game coverage of Game 2 of the OHL Championship Series. The London Knights, 9-1 winners, joined by head coach Dale Hunter, along with forward Kasper Halttunen. Coach, you've worked with this team for over 80 games this season. You've watched them on the good nights and the bad nights. Is this some of the best hockey you've seen from the Knights this season?
Yeah, we're playing as a team. We're moving the puck well, and we're playing good defense.
Kasper, the results speak for themselves tonight for you, 3 goals and an assist. What was going right for you guys just as a unit?
Well, as Dale said, we're doing those things right that we have to, and we got a lot of skill on this team, so we can score goals. So, that's the way.
Right.
Kasper, you're not just scoring on the power play, but you guys are scoring like in the first minute or first half minute. What's with the efficiency? What are you guys seeing on their box there that you're breaking down?
Well, we got some good. Well, I'm playing with good guys, so they can make plays, and that's I got open there and had to make a good play. So, just playing with good guys and doing our own systems.
Okay, and have you seen Max McHugh do at Michigan in practice or anything?
No.
Everybody practices it.
Everybody does it?
Everybody wants to do it.
I've tried a couple times, just like not being successful, but that was pretty cool.
Coach was taking Michael Simpson out there, just precautionary with it, getting a little bit more chippy and just giving your goaltender a rest there.
Yeah, just protecting him, and he got bumped there pretty hard, so just protecting the goalie.
Is he okay?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Kasper, on the power play, seems like they do a good job of trying to set you up on that one side, and you guys obviously 4 more power play goals tonight. What is it about the power play setup and the way you guys are able to structure things that is able to give your opportunities with the kind of shot that you've practiced?
Well, we've been working on it almost the whole year, and I think there's 5 good guys, and we have like so many ways to score, so it's hard for the killers in there to kind of like, if they're taking me out, there's always some other options too. So, there's, as I said, there's 5 good guys on the ice for us, and who can make plays.
Coach, what do you think your team has learned after going to the finals last year and not winning it? And some of your older guys, what do you think they've taken from that experience?
You just play one game at a time. That's what you do, and just take one game.
Coach, how do you keep the team level-headed? You guys have scored 17 in your last 2 games. What's your mentality going into Oshawa for Game 3?
Every game is a change. It's just, again, it's another game, and you just play one game at a time.
Kasper, they're a good team over there. What do you expect them to come out and do on Monday night?
Well, I think they're going to come hard. We know that that's a good team over there. We're in the finals, so, as Dale said, just one game at a time.
Kasper, national audience with TSN, maybe some Sharks fans getting to watch you for the first time during the series. Do you have any message for the Shark Tank out there in San Jose, maybe fans watching here around the country?
Well, I'm just trying to give my best every night, and hopefully I'm making my way there one day, and that's it.
Well, Manny, there's Dale Hunter, and you couldn't tell that he just won 9-1 in this game because it's a typical Dale Hunter, not going to give too much, not going to give too much credit to his guys, and not going to critique the opposition too much, trying to give them any sort of billboard material, but pretty standard Dale Hunter post-game press conference.
Take it one game at a time there, Brandon. We're just going to play one game at a time. Coach, what did you learn? What do you think your team learned from last year's OHL Cup run final? We're just taking it one game at a time. So, Dale Hunter, I think he's more emphatic when they lose. When they win, he's tight-lipped, doesn't want to say too much. I think he says more when they lose.
It's almost like the opposite of Bill Belichick in the NFL. What did you like from Kasper Halttunen, obviously an import player? And I asked him about the Shark Tank out there in San Jose, being able to watch him on a national stage with the games being broadcasted in Canada, the United States, nationwide. Obviously, he must be pretty happy to put out a performance like that for some fans maybe across the country that aren't localized and don't get to see Kasper Halttunen play, but must have got Sharks fans pretty excited.
Yeah, I think the future is bright for this young man. He's a big boy, first and foremost, to begin with. So when you look at his size at 6'3", 215, He's already got that pro size. He's already got a pro shot, and we saw that on full display with the hat trick tonight. Again, he had 32 goals in the regular season as well. I like the fact that he performed at the biggest stage, and I think that says a lot about players when they get to the next level. How do they perform on the biggest stage? Here we are in the OHL Championship. Kasper Halttunen has 3 goals in Game 2 to propel his team. And they weren't chintzy goals when the game was already out of reach. He scored when the game was still on the line, and he made a difference in the hockey game. And I think the San Jose Sharks executives should be really happy about that.
Dale Hunter, one thing he did mention that I forgot to touch up on segment 1 was that Michael Simpson did leave this game. 10 minutes left in the third period. He was run into by Bedkowski, I believe,
yes.
Going hard to the net, and Michael Simpson's head kind of jockeyed off the goalpost there. It looked like he was okay, but I think that was a smart move from Dale Hunter and the coaching staff, getting him out of there at that time because Oshawa, obviously, the game was over for them at that point, and they're basically just trying to take a bite out of London, and their starting goaltender gets run into once, put Wilmore in there, and give him the rest of the night off.
Yeah, I thought that was a tremendous move, and he confirmed after the game that, as you heard, just a precaution. Michael Simpson is fine, and what do you have to prove in a 9-1 game? Not much of anything, right? So give Wilmore some action, rest Simpson, get him ready for Game 3. Just as I thought Derek Laxdal made the right move in pulling Oster and allowing Noah Bender to play the third period for the Oshawa Generals in this game to rest up Oster for Game 3 back in Oshawa as well. It's not often you see all 4 goalies appear in a OHL Finals game, but we did see that tonight.
Yeah, neither starting goaltender finished the game for different reasons in Game 2 of the OHL Championship Series, so maybe that's a storyline we can take from tonight's game. But before we get out of here, we're going to put our guest Manny Paiva on the spot with our Player of the Game, brought to you by the Niagara Golf Lounge, Niagara's home for golf and sport year-round. Located in the Best Western Carencroft Hotel. Visit NiagaraGolfVacations.com to learn more, to host an event or to book your golf day today. Man, you got some options tonight. Halttunen with the hat trick, Cowan with 3 points, Barkey with 4 points. Where are you deciding tonight for your Player of the Game?
Yeah, I'm going with Kasper Halttunen. I think he deserves it. He scored the 2nd, the 5th, and the 7th goals of the game for the Knights. The 2nd goal was key. London just jumping on the power play right away. If London doesn't score on that power play, maybe it gives Oshawa some life. But Halttunen scored on that power play and put Oshawa in a deeper hole. And then they scored the first goal of the second period. So any thought that Oshawa had at making a comeback, Halttunen erased early, 3.5 minutes into that second period. And when he got his chances, he scored. So many times, Brandon, we see players get chances and they don't finish. Kasper Halttunen finishes. And he's from Finland, too. So pun intended.
Was there maybe a player that didn't get on the score sheet as far as points that impressed you from watching at this vantage point, and maybe somebody on the London side that made an impact in other ways tonight?
Yeah, I think when you look at the defensemen for the London Knights, I think they're just so strong. Isaiah George is so smooth. He did not get a point tonight, but he is just so smooth in his own end. I really like Evan Van Gorp. I know he scored a goal tonight, but here's a kid from Watford who didn't start the season with London, but has stayed on the roster for the London Knights, and he had a goal in this game going hard to the net. And sometimes kids steer away from the net. They play the perimeter game. From an Oshawa Generals standpoint, I think I mentioned Ethan Toms. I thought he played really well and moved up from the 4th line to the 3rd line and assisted on Ben Danford's goal. I really liked Owen Griffin, too, a lot for the Oshawa Generals. Maybe the numbers don't show it here tonight. I think he finished with only a -1, so that's not bad in a game that was decided by 8 goals. But I thought he was a good little player there, Griffin was. So, yeah, -1 on the night, 2 shots. He was 2 for 3 in the face-off circle for a guy who was playing 3rd, 4th line minutes. I thought he looked good, especially when they put him on the PK. I know London went 4 for 8 on the power play, but when Griffin was out there, he was a factor. It wasn't his fault that those power play goals were scored by London. So I think he's a good player. But again, to my point earlier that I mentioned, you can't have your third, fourth liners be your best players.
Well, Manny, I'll give you final thoughts here before we wrap up the postgame. Oshawa's down 2-0 going home, 17 goals in 2 games. If they want to get back in the series, it's going to be tough sledding, but maybe going back in front of that Tribute Community Center will give them another jolt and maybe a player or two back in the lineup for Monday.
Yeah, I would love to see the Generals get a little bit more healthy because I think it'll give them a chance, and I think it'll make the games a little bit more entertaining than the lopsided affairs that we have seen in Game 1 and 2. And I want to see the Generals show a little heart, play with a little grit, go to the net a little bit more, make life difficult for Michael Simpson and the London defense. Make Dickinson work, make Bonk work, make George work, make Jackson Edward work in front of the net. Because if you don't, they're just going to make those tremendous breakout passes and let their offensive talent do the rest.
Manny, thanks so much for joining us on today's show. You and Steve Bell do a great job with the Windsor Spitfires radio broadcast and all the extra stuff that you do for Windsor Spitfires TV on YouTube and everything like that. So thanks a lot for making the surprise appearance tonight and giving our listeners another great insight.
Brandon, I appreciate the opportunity. Best of luck as you go watch Games 3 and 4 without me in Oshawa.
I will, but we'll see. We'll have a Windsor pizza next year at sometime in Windsor, and we'll see when they build back up the standings with their exciting young roster. But that's going to wrap up another episode of OHL Overtime and another OHL game recap right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network, proudly brought to you by Wild Bill's Auto Repair, helping customers stay safe and confident on the road since 2012. Oshawa will be back on Monday at home, looking to take Game 3 of this OHL Championship Series against the London Knights. But as for tonight, 9-1, the London Knights are victorious. So for my guest co-host, Manny Paiva, my name is Brandon Caputo. Thank you very much to those today who listen to us on your favorite on-demand audio platform. And until next time, this has been another episode on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Have a good night.